What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another early World War II beta gameplay. This one is going to be on Ardennes Forest, and keep in mind, with this gameplay, it's not going to be the greatest one out there. I didn't get too much of an opportunity to play this map. I only actually got to play it twice, and in both games, I just kind of struggled to find my flow. I was trying to mess around with guns that I wasn't using in the other maps, and I didn't have attachments on them. I don't know, either way, I was just struggling to keep up on this particular map. I think I need some more playtime on this one, so please excuse the gameplay in the background. But just in case you guys didn't see the videos from yesterday where I had gameplay on Pointe du Hoc as well as Gibraltar, Activision flew me and a bunch of other YouTubers out that paid for our flights and our hotels so that we could come to this event and capture some gameplay. We got to play for about 3.5 hours or so. And yesterday I was going over some specifics, like what I think are the top 3 guns in the beta build of the game currently. And in the other one, I was talking about all of the guns that are in the game, as well as the basic training skills, the attachments, things like that. Today, I want to get a lot more general with this. I want to just basically share what I'm feeling about this game so far. The good and the bad. I feel like a lot of times when you see this early access gameplay, the YouTuber is kind of just focusing on the good, and you can't really blame them too much because it's exciting. We got to go out to the event, meet other YouTubers, meet the developers, we're at the studio, it's all exciting, and obviously we're going to have an excellent experience with that. But I really tried to step back, watch my gameplays, and think of all the things that I also didn't quite like about the beta build of this game. So I'm going to try my best to be objective about this, bring both sides to it, because there are still a lot of people out there that are skeptical and aren't sure if they're going to be liking this Call of Duty game. So first up, let's start with the good stuff. Let's start with the stuff that I liked, and I'm going to point out right at the beginning here, the stuff that I liked by far outweighs the stuff that I didn't like. Overall, my impression is this is going to be a great year of Call of Duty. I'm very much looking forward to this year of Call of Duty. Even though I love advanced movement CODs, it's going to be a nice change of pace, and I'm excited to go back to that sort of classic feel with Call of Duty. But let's get into my list of the things that I really enjoyed with this game. Keeping in mind, I'm only going to be focusing on the things that we actually had access to in the beta build of the game. So I'm not going to be mentioning headquarters or anything along those lines, just what we had access to for the beta. So first up, the first thing I noticed is just the overall gunplay. The way that the guns feel and behave, the way that the gunfights feel when you're in them, it really did remind me of Black Ops 2. I've been saying this after watching a lot of other people play the game for quite some time, but it's definitely different when you hop into the game and get to play it for yourself, and I'm standing by that. It definitely feels kind of like Black Ops 2 when it comes to overall gunplay, and I think that is an excellent thing. For me personally, Black Ops 2 was my absolute favorite boots-on-the-ground Call of Duty, and it's looking like it's going to be another great year as far as gunplay goes. Just so you guys are aware, jump shots are going to be relatively effective if used properly. I don't think people are going to be jumping around like too crazy, but a well-timed jump shot around a corner when you know an enemy's going to be there is definitely going to give you a leg up in the gunfights. As far as drop shotting goes, a lot of people have been asking about that. It's not super powerful in this game from what I could tell. You can drop shot, but it's a relatively slow animation, and therefore you're not going to be gaining a significant advantage over your enemies. As for the time to kill, I think the time to kill feels great. It's a little bit faster than we've seen in Infinite Warfare and Black Ops 3 as far as statistics go. It seems to me more along the lines of something like Black Ops 2, like I was saying. So, relatively fast, but there is usually time to react to being shot. You're not going to get just insta-deleted off the map. You will often have time to at least react to the situation before you're dead. Now keep in mind we were playing on land, so that will change things up a little bit. Once you get online, things definitely change, but on land, time to kill felt great. I will say though, if you watch some gameplay, it might look to you like the time to kill is way too fast. It might look almost like hardcore modes. I believe this is actually due to a bug with the hit marker sounds, and I'm going to be talking about that bug a little bit later on in the video when we start to get to the bad side of things. Just know the actual statistical time to kill seems pretty good. Not too fast, not too slow. As for the maps, I love the maps in this game so far, at least the 3 that we had access to. I really enjoyed them. The one that you're watching right now is probably my least favorite out of all of them, but having said that, it still looks like it will be an enjoyable experience once I actually get a better feel for it and maybe use an appropriate setup to play on this map. But just in case you guys are wondering, the maps are relatively simple, kind of 3-lane maps with not a whole lot of verticality, and any verticality that is in the map, it's a really obvious overlook position, so you're not really going to get surprised by people up in those overlook positions. And I think for competitive play, this is going to be excellent. Now, I know that's not for everyone, but for me at least, that's definitely going in the positive side. A few other things on the positive side. First off, score streaks. Overall, I really enjoy the looks of the score streaks so far, keeping in mind I wasn't able to earn a ton of score streaks at this event because I'm playing against other YouTubers, and they're all really good at the game. But overall, with a couple exceptions, I thought score streaks looked great. Another thing that goes on the positive side for me, for sure, is the war game mode. The war game mode felt great. It was really intense, really exciting. It's great to see everybody banding together with their entire focus just on the objective. This game mode doesn't count your deaths, it doesn't count towards your kill-death ratio, and there's no score streaks to earn, so you really have no excuse for not playing the objective, and I think that's an excellent thing. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more. Now, I'm starting to run out of time on the positive sides here, so one last thing I'm going to throw in here that I really liked about it so far is the looks of the progression system as you unlock things. The way it works is, as you level up, you earn a token every time you level up. That token can be used to unlock a gun or a basic training skill, something along those lines, so you save up those unlock tokens as you go through each level, and it seems to be a pretty good system. Keeping in mind attachments are separated from that system, you earn attachments for leveling up a gun, so you don't have to waste one of those tokens on a simple attachment on a gun per level. Alright, so let's move on to the bad side, and we're actually starting to run out of time here a little bit, so I'm going to try to blast through this. First off, this is that hit marker audio bug, or apparent hit marker audio bug. I don't have confirmation on this yet, but basically what's going on is it seems like the hit marker sound, that little tick sound that you get when you get a hit, is not playing properly for every hit marker that you actually get. So oftentimes it'll take 4 shots to kill an enemy, and all you hear when you kill that enemy is 2 little ticks. Or if it's a 3-shot kill, sometimes you only hear 1 tick. And if you're looking at the gameplay and listening to it, it looks like it's hardcore mode. It looks like you just completely melted that guy in 1 shot, when in reality, it did take you 3 bullets to get the kill, and 3 hit markers did appear, you just didn't get the sound for all 3. It could be an issue where the sounds are just not stacking properly or something along those lines, but I'm really hoping this gets worked out before the launch of the game. In addition to this, we have motion blur. Now, I think the motion blur is probably in the beta build of the game because maybe it's not the most stable build at this point. It's still a little bit early on. Everything's not finalized yet. So it might not be running at peak performance at the moment, and therefore motion blur could have been added in just to smooth things out slightly, in case there are like a few little minor frame drops or something like that. Having said this, I will say I didn't really notice it in-game too much. It was more so when I got into my editing software. That's when I really noticed this motion blur. So I don't think it's going to be much of an issue this weekend with the beta. I wouldn't worry about that too much. And also, I would expect that this is going to get resolved by launch, but it is something I definitely wanted to point out. Another thing that I'm not really a fan of right now, and I would love to see changed, is the amount of score you get in objective game modes. There's really not much score to go around, even if you're actively playing the objective, and therefore it's really difficult to earn score streaks. We'll have to see how it plays out once we get it into the hands of the general public, and I'm not playing against people that are of equal or greater skill level than me, but it seemed very difficult even to earn some of the lower streaks in the game, which is a little bit annoying. One thing that relates to gunplay that I wasn't really too much of a fan of, it's something you can adapt to for sure. I feel like the sprint out time was a tad slow on SMGs. Keep in mind, in this game, there's no basic training skill or division training skill that will allow you to reduce your sprint out time, so you're stuck with the sprint out time of the gun, and I feel like the SMG sprint out time is just a little bit too slow. If they could speed that up just slightly, I think that would balance things out a little bit better. Now, one big thing that I'm overall really skeptical about, and it's something that likely isn't going to be changing, is the division system. The division system, I will admit, I do feel a little bit limited in some ways. Part of it I can see as a good thing because it's really going to push the focus towards gun-on-gun gunplay. It's not all about what perks the enemy has. It's about your skill versus his skill, your gun versus his gun. So I can see an argument for that. I kind of like that aspect, but at the same time, I also feel a little bit limited compared to what we've seen in previous Call of Duty games. Something that goes along with this is the fact that everybody is going to have a grenade. Either a lethal or a non-lethal, it's your choice. Everybody's going to have some sort of throwable equipment, and therefore there's a lot of nade spam, there's probably going to be a lot of stun spam as well, and I found sometimes it would get a little bit crazy. Now, I guess I'm going to have to tack on a little bit of gameplay that you've already seen from yesterday, because we are only allowed to upload 10 minutes from each one of these maps. But I want to keep this commentary going because I'm kind of on a roll with this, and there's still a few more things that I didn't like too much about the beta build of the game that I definitely wanted to share with you guys. I didn't want to cut that short. And this brings me to a couple of the score streaks. First off, the flame score streaks, so the flamethrower as well as the Molotov. The Molotov is only a 300 score streak, so it's very easy to earn. You get 2 of them, and if you die with one of them in your hand, you respawn and you still have that. I don't really like that aspect of it too much. I think it should be a risk to bring that out. It is relatively powerful. If you hit really close to your enemy, it's pretty much an instant kill. But if you hit near the edge of your enemy, it will slowly damage them until they die unless they move out of the fire, kind of like a thermite from Black Ops 3. But just since these are earned so easily, and also since you keep them through death if you get shot while you're carrying it, I can definitely see them being a little bit on the spammy and annoying side at times, and oftentimes there's no avoiding these. When somebody throws it at you, there's no time to jump out of the way or anything, you're just simply dead. So Molotovs, I think something needs to be done. Either make it so you don't respawn with one if you have it in your hand, or increase the score a little bit, maybe bump that up to 400 or 450 score. Either way, I wasn't a fan of that, and also it kind of goes along with the flamethrower. The flamethrower is the same sort of thing. You can use it, and if you die while using it, you will respawn with the same amount of fuel in the flamethrower as you had when you died. And I don't really like that too much. I think if you die while using it, that's a risk you took. It's a very powerful thing. It destroys people up close. Tabor Hill actually got a frenzy kill against me. I'm gonna have to get him back next time. But I really don't like those elements of these 2 particular score streaks. Also, one thing I'll point out is the UAV. I feel like the UAV is a little too high of a streak for how easy it is to shoot down. If you guys saw my video from yesterday, I'll put the clip right here. You can see just how easy it is to take down an enemy UAV. They're flying very low and very slow. They're super easy to hit. Keep in mind in this clip, I did have FMJ on my gun, so that might affect things a little bit. FMJ perhaps does more damage to score streaks. I know it has in the past with some Call of Duties, but still, it was way too easy to take out a UAV for the amount of score that it takes to earn one of them. Now, I understand that they don't want too much UAV spam because, especially with the way that the division system works, you are kind of limited in your options, and if there's too much UAV spam, then everybody's going to have basically the exact same class that gives you that ability to stay off the radar, and that's with the Mountain Division. So perhaps lower it a little bit or increase the health of them a little bit. Just do something to make the UAVs maybe a little bit more viable. Now, one last thing I wanted to throw in at the end here is loading times. Now, obviously, this is the beta build of the game. It doesn't necessarily represent the full build of the game, but I'm a bit concerned in this area. One thing I noticed is we once again have that period of time when you get out of a match. So you just finished playing a match and you load up the menu to get back into the pre-game lobby so you can change up your classes and things like that. In Advanced Warfare, if you remember correctly, there was about a 10-second delay where you couldn't do anything. You could see the menus, they were all there. You could hit buttons all you wanted though, and nothing would happen. It's such a frustrating feeling seeing all that stuff there and not being able to do anything about it. And I actually experienced this a little bit with this build of the game as well. When you first get out of a match, it's completely unresponsive. You can see the menu, you can't do anything with the menu. Now, I will say it's only 5 to 10 seconds, something like that, but it is enough to be annoying in my mind. Also, I am a little bit disappointed they didn't go with the Infinite Warfare route where the map loads while you're in the pre-game lobby and then you just basically hop right into the match. It doesn't look like they're following suit with this game. It looks like the standard Call of Duty map loading time, which isn't too surprising and honestly not a really big deal. It's just something I was really hoping would return from Infinite Warfare. So there we have it. I think that's a good point to wrap up this video here. Lots of pros, a few cons with this, a few things I'm still a little bit concerned about, but I'm hoping a lot of the issues that I have with this game will be resolved with this beta build, and I'm also hoping the division system starts to grow on me a little bit. But other than that, generally, my thoughts on this are very positive. I'm really looking forward to this. Can't wait to be playing the beta for this weekend, and I hope I'm going to see a bunch of you guys out there as well. If you guys haven't seen the gameplays from yesterday on Gibraltar as well as Point to Hawk, where I talk about guns and attachments and all that kind of stuff, make sure you go and check those out. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you do that. I'm going to have tons of COD World War II content this year. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you guys next time.